actively. There have been some play tests on it to try to gauge, has it hit the appropriate target difficulties? Obviously, we want the master version still to be fairly challenging, but we want in particular, the random trial queue version to be something that is approachable by a random group that has a reasonably high success rate and hits the targets that we're setting for. So it is basically in work now. We don't have an ETA for it due to timing. It might not come out back in random trial queue until early November, but it'll depend on when we can get those changes. There's a chance we'll get them out in a sort of interstitial patch before our next big patch in November, but I'm not going to make any promises to it just yet. I'd love to see it come out here in the next couple of weeks. It's close, but we do have some build timing issues that we have to work around.
Yep. For those who caught the stream last week, I mentioned early access, people who'd signed up to volunteer for early access, and finding folks that would meet the casual RTQ more style was very challenging, just because if you are already offering to participate in an early access, it tends to show a higher investment, higher knowledge kind of thing. So it's been delicate, but we have found some great folks. We've done a couple standard demo runs. We've got another master group already also kind of prepping up for that. So we're definitely getting some great input, some great feedback, some amusing deaths during early access. But yeah, it's being actively worked on that since I participate in the early access section of it. And we have so far we've had 2 topics that were on my list come up. One of them was crossplay. Any plans for cross-platform in the future? By asks Chester.
Crossplay hardly.
There's currently no cross-platform plans. It's something that we've talked about, but it's a very complicated technical request to get done. So as a result of that, it would take a lot of work. We do have sort of the account structure we would need, but for example, the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC are basically run on completely separate shards and have completely separate economies. And so there's a lot both on
Kevin,
the
what's
technical
up?
of ensuring that we could get all the players playing on a single shard and working consistently, but separately too, we'd have to resolve the issue of what do we do about all the various economies. For example, auction houses are per platforms, then exchanges are per platform. There's a lot that happens per platform, and smooshing those all together would change that into a single economy. And so there's some things that we would have to do there that we'd have to work out.
All right.
Fundamentally, Cryptic's MMOs weren't set up to be cross-platform from the get-go, and that's a hard feature to bring in after the fact. It's much better when you can do that from the get-go, but it's hard to bring in after the fact. So it is not currently on our list. It's something that we would like to look at just because it makes it easier to find players, etc. But it's something that is a very non-trivial amount of technical work.
I do want to say thanks to both Terramac and Midnight.
It should be on very soon.
And also Midnight for addressing some stuff. Soup Heals You was asking about accessibility and color blindness, and I know that's a topic that has come up internally. Several of us, discuss it as to how we can
too expensive.
That. So it's not perfect, but we do discuss it, and it's something we do take into consideration. So just keep bringing it up to us. I don't want us to lose sight of that one. The other topic on my bingo was roadmap. People asking about roadmap.
All right, roadmap. Let's see what they have to say.
What's roadmap?
We're actively working on it. We've literally been having a lot of discussions on that. We had to basically wrap up Module 23, which was Dragon Slayer, and we had to get Module 24 kicked off and in the throes, and that has been well underway now. And as we work on our next module, we have been working on our longer-term roadmap. I don't have it ready to present yet, but I have a version of it for internal display only that is going through approvals, and it'll be a little bit of time after that, unfortunately, before I can display anything externally, but hopefully we'll have a solid internal approval over the next couple of months and then get it out. I wish I could have gotten a version out sooner, but following both Dragon Slayer and then getting Module 24 rolling, we had a lot of work to do on just getting those things out, and those had to take priority, obviously, as being the most immediate needs for Neverwinter.
Another topic is the legacy character. I believe it was Galactic who brought them up. Any updates on the issue with legacy characters and how we'll address it? And he also acknowledged that it is a sensitive topic.
Yes.
Yeah, but yes, I think Brett and I were actually just talking about this. So
yeah, we've known about this issue for a bit, and the fix for some of the boons and whatnot that are found, the legacy characters use basically older boons and whatnot being found on characters. These are things that are no longer obtainable, and certain characters that are from like 5 or 6 years ago never have access to boons that are the rest of the community does not, and classes don't. With the upcoming small release that we're doing here next week, either with that immediate release, I had to double check on the specific ones, or shortly afterwards, all of those old boons will be disabled. Those characters will have all of that old data cleared off, and those will no longer be accessible. They will receive a message sort of indicating as such, but we're effectively putting in a technical fix that will go, live here. Again, I'm hoping it comes out with the update for next Tuesday. It might take a week or two after that to deploy that, but that fix will come out and it will wipe all that off of the older characters. We're hoping that it hits everyone.
I was late, 5 to 7 minutes.
It has proven successful there, so we're hoping that we
I don't know either. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
Let's see, a couple other questions. Questions or comments. Killer Croc 1014, a bit of a random question, but any chance there will ever be an abyssal chicken mount? Maybe if you could combine all the abyssal chicken pets.
It's a good idea. We'll look into that one. Abyssal chicken mount sounds like a lot of fun. So
I still want them to be able to combine all the vanity pets together. And maybe the more vanity pets put together, the bigger your...
Then you can have the vanity pet, then you can have the companion, and you can have the mount. You can go all abyssal chicken.
Yeah. Let's see, there's another question. Let's see, I missed a tank one. Yes. CPT Kenny99. What are you going to fix the scroll bug so tanks can use a scroll of life if they died while blocking?
Oh, Josh Strife is here.
We're trying to get reproductions. Oh, yeah. We have not seen it consistently reproduced. But we're trying to figure out in what situations that it causes that disallows that from occurring. So it's on our list of issues, but we don't have a 100% repro case, unfortunately, and getting it to happen in a way we can capture what's causing that issue has proven more challenging.
Thanks, Kev.
From a bulk standpoint, it happens obviously with enough volume that when we have many thousands of people doing it, we hit it. But when we're trying to test in isolation, we're not seeing it as frequently as we would have liked.
Yeah, repro of issues is always a big one, and that's for those of you who kind of post things in the forums or Reddit. After a while, I might reach out to you and say, can you just give us your account info so we can pull your container directly, because maybe we're not seeing it when we try to repro. There's a lot of steps, but yeah, I wanted to acknowledge that we are aware of bugs and stuff, but we just sometimes can't repro it yet. So we don't have any Tiana fix because we haven't actually been able to identify what the actual issue is. Alpha Stream, hi, I haven't seen you in a bit. Asks, does the game use any timing tricks between characters and monsters? I increasingly feel that the game is not reacting when things happen, sometimes after, but even before something ends. For example, a monster begins to do an attack, but the effect already happened. It's not lag, it's a difference between visual and gameplay.
I mean, yeah, so that can happen as a result of specific we call them powers, internal address system. It just depends on a timing thing with that specific power. Unfortunately, if you see something that is very off and it's consistently very off, please let us know. You can poke the community and say like, hey, look, there's this creature I keep fighting, and one of its powers or all of its powers seem to be really off. Like the timing for them doesn't line up, and we can fix those. But those unfortunately have to be fixed on an individual basis. If it's inconsistently off, like sometimes you see the problem and sometimes you don't, that actually is going to be a bit of server and client latency. Unfortunately, there's degrees to which we try to minimize that on the technical backend with how we handle latency, but it's never perfect. But if you see something, an attack or something along that's always off, just let us know. We need to try to fix those. We do what we can to try to ensure that new enemies that come out don't have that problem, but there's always a chance that something sneaks out. Unfortunately, very small changes, like if there's a last minute change because someone wanted to make an animation look cooler and they don't realize, oh no, now the timing's slightly off and the power hits too soon or too late, etc. Those kind of things can slip out at the last minute. So if you see something, let us know with that. Again, especially if it reproduces all the time. If it's something that happens inconsistently, it's more like that's probably server client latency. But if it's a power you always see this problem with, let us know. And then we fixed a few of those retroactively when we've seen that as well. Where like you see a telegraph and then you think you get out of it and then you're always being hit by it's like, oh yeah, it turns out someone made a change 0.2 of a second and it threw off the timing of the power.
Yep. A lot of questions coming in, so I apologize if I missed some of them. Bionic System mentioned Cleric Mark keeps in combat when not in combat. Definitely aware of that one. It's been in the report for check-in and how we're doing, so just wanted to acknowledge that we are of that one, aware of that one. And then I've also seen a couple questions regarding Wizard rework. So how's that going, Brett?
It's going. I can't speak for Robert. He's the one tackling the Wizard rework, but he's done a lot of legwork, both in terms of engaging with the community, finding out some of the issues, playing the Wizard more himself to make sure that he understands how that's all handling. But we'll basically have to do a more in-depth sort of AMA or question interview with him about how the Wizard's going. I don't have any specific offhand information. He has not, that rework is not planning to come out for a while. So if you're expecting it in August, don't. It's going to take longer than that, which is why there's still sort of a lot of time left for him to make changes to it.
Yeah, and I can speak a little bit more just because I am actually producing that feature because it involved a lot of community contact. He has spent quite some time reaching out to the community, discussing in depth basically those who play wizards or as their main class, or who are known to be very good wizard players, and of all different skill levels. Though we're not just looking at one specific player type, but just getting kind of that feel. We know there's a lot of threads, so basically it's condensing all the information that's come to us in the last couple of years, putting it together, and then soon moving into the bug squashing portion of this.
Whatever,
so
Julia.
There's been a lot of back and forth between Robert and the community, so it's definitely a feature that we've gotten a lot of input and feedback. But as Brett said, it's not going to come out in August because it's a lot of work. Let's see. And so speaking of classes, Provigilance asked, how difficult would it be to have a multi-class system implemented into the game? Something like a Wizard Fighter, Paladin Warlock, or if you played 3.5
Very difficult.
like me,
It's
I did
not
Barbarian
something.
Cleric. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's not something that I will promise. It's something that obviously, multi-classing is a great and awesome part of the tabletop game. And there's a lot of crazy cool combinations you can do, but at the same time for us it presents a lot of unique challenges, both from a technical standpoint but also from a balance standpoint. So it's not something that we would consider. We would have to make it a very major portion of one of our releases is what it amounts to. We'd have to spend a lot of time putting that in. It's more complex than even adding a new class to the game, which is already a very new complex thing.
Galactic, you are full of questions today.
Yeah, Galactic is kicking their asses.
So they ask, in regards to the strongholds, why was the Dragonflight singled out as a stronghold change? Was it because of the dragon mechanics change because of dragon hunts? So it made it easier to update that?
Yes. No, it wasn't necessarily an easy. It was thematic theming. It was because we had the dragons in there, and we've been trying to do, as you may have noticed, a cleanup in as many places as we could, where we were going to update the sort of pre-existing older dragons in Neverwinter with the cooler, newer ones. And we also wanted to give a little bit of love to Stronghold, so the Dragonflights was sort of that test update. That work was actually done a while back and is just now sort of seeing the light of day. We obviously had a lot to get done with Dragon Slayer that we had to put at the forefront. And so some of the things that, we're getting to wrap up here with Dragonflight were just some stuff we've had in flight for a while. And we're trying to get it out now here with this sort of early August patch that we're doing next week.
So just a funny anecdote on this one. The artists are very proud of the dragon aesthetic, revamp, which they should be. That's they made our dragons look amazing. But I had, unfortunately, before the release of the current module, I had to use an asset that included an image of the older version of the dragon. And one of the artists pinged me, and they're like, "But we have these beautiful dragons," and I'm like, "But they're not live yet." So yes, they put some great work into the dragons, and so we're very proud to use them. Let's see, Amos83, related to old content, any plans to remove the weekly gating on old content? For example, only being able to gain so much progress towards Sharandar, and it taking weeks long to be able to unlock Vault of Stars, or any other weekly limits on campaigns?
We've looked at sort of like the older campaigns and what the
kind of weird
progression
question, but okay.
Are through them. We have some solutions for things that are in the legacy campaign one, which allow you to speed up through them. But we haven't looked as much at the newer campaigns, Sharandar, for example, and the other non-legacy campaigns. That will come up, especially as those campaigns age. We'll look at sort of advancing through them. But at the same time, we also don't want to remove all of some of the gates that we have from all of our immediate content. There is a level of progression through those campaigns that we sort of want to ensure that players coming into it progress through, spend the time, and kind of learn the ropes as they play their character classes, figure out what to do, etc. But as you can see, kind of what we've done with legacy campaigns, we've continuously added new ways to progress and shortcut through those. But we're not going to be quite yet of the mindset of the moment we put out a new campaign, the campaign prior to that can be completed, say, for example, in a single day. But we'll look at ways to expedite and make those older campaigns faster to get through. That naturally occurs as the game goes on. We look at campaigns that were older now that we want to get players through more quickly. We try to keep a small subset of more recent campaigns that we want players to get through. But Sharandar is definitely getting to that point, and I think Descent into Avernus is still on there as well too, and that actually will be the next one that we need to look at.
So this one, actually, I'm going to take it. It's
All right.
I am so smart. Julia, how often do you look at the bug report section of the forums and do you look at all posts? So on Monday mornings, I do what I call my Monday sweep. I put together a larger report that we then discuss at a Monday afternoon meeting. So that's when I basically look at the reports that came in from the last week, since I do it weekly. If for some reason there was a holiday and I missed a week, then I'll go back and include the missed week. So Monday is the big day where I catch up on all the new stuff. I look at all the new threads that I create.
Mic off. Mic feedback off.
With comments. I just don't always reply to all of them because it's a time thing. And then throughout the week, I will follow up on some of the ones that if there was a question I had to, reached out to a player or other little issues pop up. So I throughout the week, I do a kind of a check. But on Monday is my big day because I put together that report of all the new weekly issues or the new issues that happened in the last week. So hopefully that addressed that. Let's see. Lots of questions.
So when people keep asking about a trade bar store update, we're actually considering that, but it will be something for a bit more distant in the future. Don't expect that in the short run, but we're going to try to see if we can make some quick updates to it.
So Can's hair. I think you've been asking this question for a little bit, so sorry if I've missed it before. Any plans to change the drops of whiskers and stuff from Vault of Stars? The weapons are way too expensive to make and buy because of the lack of whiskers.
Specifically, whiskers, yes. We have a fix that will be deployed probably not next week. I have to confirm what build it'll be going into, but we will be substantially increasing the drop rate of Displacer Beast Whiskers.
Let's see.
Hopefully less than a month for that to come out, but we'll see.
Here is another topic on my bingo. Dr. Jack Rune X. FYI, some dragons, especially black, that have multiple moves that cover mass amounts of the arena do not render very well, leaving us wondering why we are dead when we are not in any danger areas because they can't be seen. This needs fixed as soon as possible. That's, I thought you were starting with something else with that question about black dragons, but you actually also brought in the art part. So, thank you for surprising me. But yes, Brett, black dragons, visuals, attacks.
Yeah, we've seen some on-screen, sort of off-screen display issues with a couple of the dragon powers. Don't have a fix for that yet, but it's something that's on our list. So we're going to try to tackle that as time allows. But we'll see what we can do. The reality is we kind of know what the issue is. It affects a couple of different areas, but it's positioning specific and a little bit tricky to solve with the size of the dragons. But we'll see what we can do. It is an issue. We recognize it's a problem. I've hit it too, in my own playthroughs of Dragon Hunts. I generally play as a tank, and I've had a few times when I've had dragons of all colors, not specific to just black, disappear, but it's definitely problematic. I find, and this is temporary workaround, is to look up and look down usually triggers them to render again.
Yep. Let's see. Hard Rock L1L. Some folks are full of some great questions today. With so many new campaigns coming out, we get new Boon points. Do you have a plan to allow us putting points in a third campaign stat at tier 5 or a second campaign stat for master tier?
All right, you'll have to repeat. My internet connection lagged out there while you were asking that question.
With so many new campaigns coming out and we got new Boon points, do you have plans to allow putting points in a third
mic
campaign
feedback
stat at tier 5 and or
That's right. Don't touch the black dragon.
We're looking at Boon updates in general. I'm not going to specifically talk about like specific solutions, but we recognize that, there are some Boon updates that we'd like to do. And so we've been discussing what it is we think we can get done with Boons to make for more interesting and useful options for people that have collected all the Boons, like for those that have done like all the campaigns and hit all the adventures up at this point. We're looking at some updated Boon options. That's as much as I can go into it, but at the same time, it's going to take a bit more time to get to.
Downloading, they probably won't.
Path, but it is on our longer term roadmap to try to improve Boons.
So when it got out that we're updating Dragonflight, I had assumed that people would start asking about Stronghold. So the answer is probably going to be the same as we've given before. But
here we go.
Topeka does ask about updating Strongholds like mass guilds, allowing Boons to be built, update the mysterious merchant, update all the gear. So
all right.
Basically, more Stronghold updates, Brett. since we
we're
did
trying to see what we
Dragonflight.
can do to get some more updates into it as time allows. It's not going to be a huge
Kevin, it does.
portion of our next major release, but we're looking to see if we can slant in some updates to the gear and a few other things that take a little bit less work. The Dragonflight was kind of a partial initial update to that, and then we'll be hopefully try to get to something that allows for basically better influence sinks, is more uses, more effective end game uses of influence as a whole.
For a while now, for past streams, I'm talking about how updating strongholds is kind of it is a large undertaking. Whether because it's legacy knowledge, because it's a lot to rebuild from the ground. But my hope is that we can continue making improvements where we can, such like the Dragonflight.
Well,
we'll have some more stuff rolling out.
I can't check now, but I will,
DJ
man.
Dev78, any plans on making
I will.
augments viable again? Running endgame augments just aren't useful and haven't been forever. What are your thoughts on augments, Brett?
So from a stat balance point, there's been some back and forth. There are certain stat combinations and setups where running an augment is better. If you need certain stats, you get basically more damage out of it. But in other cases, if you are in specific fights where you have a high value companion, active companion, non-augment, you do get slightly more advantage out of it. So to say that augments are either the only way to go or the only way to never go, I think is a little misleading, at least based on the feedback that we've gotten from a lot of our very endgame players. There are certainly a lot of situations where some, due to either what the boss does or how it attacks or how the active companion functions, it's going to be more useful to use an augment, but there are other cases where you will get more damage out of using an active summon. That being said, it's something we try to carefully manage on the balance. We want all companions, whether they're augments or non-augments, to have a good role. So if you feel that specifically there are fights, so there's a lot of content recently where whether it's augments or non-augments are specifically punished a lot, let us know, because we certainly don't want the balance to tip in the way of, well, augments are the only way to go or non-augments are the only way to go. It's not interesting for us or for the players if basically players only want to use one type or the other.
Circuit Tavalis asked about giveaways today. So I hadn't planned any specific ones just because I didn't want to break the kind of the vibe of the Q&A. If it reach a point where there's like a weird, uncomfortable silence, I can try. But otherwise, I want to try to keep answering as many questions as possible.
Nothing is weird here. Nothing is weird.
The next couple weeks, so
everything is fine
for me. So lots of questions. The Band of Air. Okay, so there we go. More bingo.
Band of Air. Here we go.
Fix. Is it supposed to be proccing off ferocity? Is that a bug? Any? So yeah, basically, a lot of people asking about. Talk to us about Band of Air.
So a quick update then on Band of Air. We are working on a Band of Air change. It is a substantial change to the Band of Air mechanics, as well as actually Band of Darkness as well too. Robert has been specifically working on that very closely and paying a lot of attention to it. The gist is that Band of Air does proc off of things that it is not expected to be procking off. It is allowed to proc off a wide variety of what the internally call powers. To players, however, it's not like everything you might think is a power. It's not like just, every at-will or every encounter is power. There's actually a number of other things in our engine that count as powers. Right now, Band of Air can proc off of a lot of powers.
Yeah, from a microwave.
Powers. Sometimes they can proc off of interesting setups for things like companions and other things that they are not, that we were basically not expecting it to. The net result is that Band of Air procs off of a lot of things it shouldn't, and as a result, it procs much more often than was originally expected. So there is going to be a substantial change to Band of Air coming up here in the near future.
I know, right?
Probably before our next major release, that will drastically change its procking behavior and will likely overall substantially reduce its total damage output. There's no easy way to say that, but Band of Air currently functions way beyond its expected parameters in terms of
it's broken as fuck.
Just say it how it is. And our goal is to ensure that the future version of Band of Air is still the best in slot ring, and that hopefully the Band of Darkness is also more competitive and interesting. But at the same time, it is no longer catastrophically beyond sort of the expected item slot budget. There's nothing that's sort of all on us. It's egg on our face for messing up the Band of Air in terms of how it was mechanically set up and these issues that we've hit, but we feel it's important because in its current state, Band of Air will be the best in slot ring for probably forever, because we don't plan on ever making a ring that powerful ever again.
One ring will rule them all.
We compare it directly. We're comparing its performance directly against other very strong rings like the Red Eyes Glare and things like that, and we still expect it to be better than those other available options. It takes a lot of effort to get one, and it needs to be very strong as a result of that, and it will remain the best in slot ring. But this is unfortunately one of those few cases where other than sort of improving Ring of Darkness to try to make it more competitive, there's not a lot we can do since Bandavar was already in a tier of its own, but we need to bring it down a couple of tiers so that it's only a slight tier above other very high quality rings in the game and not many tiers above other quality rings in the game. So
you're going to
change, again,
you're going to nerf the entire
thing. My guess is sometime in the next month. And going alongside that, and we know that this will affect, in particular, endgame guilds that, in many cases, have 6 DPS characters that are all using Band of Air, for example, and that obviously affects the balance of some of our master trials and other things. We are looking at changes to master trials to account for that, since the top end maximum level of DPS will go down likely with this change to Band of Air, and we feel it important that we sort of reflect that reality in how we approach things like master trials.
Best slot count open, right?
Like random trial queues and things like that. Most players in that are not using Band of Air, and we don't balance them around the expectation of people having Band of Air. But it's obvious that some of the more recent master trials with their challenge factors sort of assumed, and probably a lot of the playtesting we've done had players in there with Band of Air. So it's important for us to reflect the reality that if we're going to lower Band of Air quite substantially, it's important for us to ensure that the things that you were using Band of Air against are also lowered in proportion to that.
And Robert has been working on the Band of Air, and he and I have discussed, putting out a blog or some communication about that. So it's not just like, here's the change, no information about that. That's not.
Dun dun dun.
It's kind of like what we did with the ribcage. There was a blog, there was information put out, and we felt that was very useful to supplement not just the change. So stay tuned for that. We'll be hopefully putting out some more information on Band of Air very soon. Spawn UK says, when looking ahead outside of combat campaign system, is their intent a timeline to reinvigorate the existing other systems to bring variety to the game, strongholds, professions, PvP, so basically revamping some of the older systems?
I mean, we are planning, obviously, a few updates to things like I've already mentioned, boons and some things like that too, and we would like to target some elements of strongholds, but there's unfortunately a realistic limit to the number of systemic overhauls that we can do at any given time. So we tackle a couple of them. We try to do some quality of life updates and improvements with each of the releases, and that's kind of our long-term plan going forward, but there's a limit. So for example, we can't do both PvP and strongholds in the same module. We just don't have the sort of bandwidth to handle those simultaneously. That's to say we couldn't do either of them, but we've talked about what we could do. And the reality is we have ideas for tackling several of those different areas, but we will have to space them out over a period of time to start hitting some of those. We will have a few, for example, things not related to strongholds, for example, or PvP, but we're doing a few, they're fairly broad quality of life updates for our next patch, which will come out again later towards this year. To note, and to clarify one second, the patch that is coming out here next week and sort of this August update is not an official module release. It's sort of just an additional content push. And the next major module is still slated to land before end of year.
Yep.
Before the end of the year, okay.
But by the way, the blog on Friday was going to announce that the update was going to come out next week, Tuesday. But apparently, Brett, stole my thunder.
Damn it! I thought that was already well known. Sorry.
No, actually, I hadn't given out a specific date, but no, it's actually good that they know now. So a week from now, and then on a week from now, it's stuff that you'll see on preview. No, it's good. It's good.
Spoiler alert.
That way, people who do stuff on the weekends won't, if they miss the blog, they'll know the date.
Next Tuesday, there will be the update. The PC version already has a preview up, and there's been some testing going on the PC preview. That version, or a version similar to that, again, they're usually not 1-to-1, but a version similar to what you see in preview will be coming out next week.
And for those of you who weren't aware, the tribute to Wicked, player who passed away recently, is on preview right now and will be going out with this update next week.
Kudos for Wicked.
Find Wicked, the NPC in the Well of Dragons, giving kind of tips.
Very nice. Very nice.
Looking awesome. And you also get a title when you interact with him. So.
And he gives information also.
Live.
Yo, Bionic, what's up, man?
Your name, by the way. Cold Iron. Are you going to decrease the requirements of Masterwork? Currently, the grind takes months to even craft a Feywood set, for example.
Again, kind of related to the earlier one, we talked about reducing some of them specifically. Displacer Whiskers was, for example, a known issue. It was not intended to be that hard. It's just managing all the resources. We didn't quite predict the usage rates of that as needed. But Masterworks are intended to be fairly steep things that take a decent amount of investment to get into. They're not intended to be some more, if they're sort of like the hardcore rating equivalent of professions. So they're things that are intended to have a pretty long grind and some pretty steep investment associated with it. That being said, we'll play with the rates, and if we find things that are out of balance,
yeah,
again,
right,
Displacer Whiskers
I
being
mean,
an example,
he's
we'll
very
it.
vocal about
so
it.
Painful that like specific
Yeah,
elements
I
of
agree.
it feel very out of place.
I do agree.
And over time, we'll look at what we can do if we still feel that they're just too inaccessible, to see if we can bring those down a good bit. But they were initially slated to be something that was going to take a lot of effort. But I don't disagree that we can, as we look forward to future, hopefully Masterwork things as well, that we'll take a chance to look and ensure, like, hey, how much do we think the actual cost is? How much effort should go into each of these times, and try to hit a better target for those. So.
Hey, Draxibus, what's up, man?
I had to laugh at this one when I saw it. Amos83, are there any plans to have some tie-ins for when the movie comes out? Also, can you confirm again that druids are coming with the movie release? Nice way to phrase that question.
No information on druids, so I will not confirm nor deny anything to do
nor
with
the monks,
druids
obviously.
However, we are obviously aware of the movie. It's currently slated for Q1 of next year. For those of you who haven't watched the trailer, it looks pretty cool. Go check it out. We're actually pretty pleased with where it's heading. If you may notice, there's a couple of shots of a nice city in the backdrop from a couple of different angles that looks very, very much like a city you all may be very, very familiar with. And so you check that out, but there also may be some tie-ins, but I can't make any promises, since sort of like, Wizards of the Coast is in the middle. We're on one side of Wizards of the Coast and the movie's on the other. And we have to go through, both of us have to go through Wizards of the Coast to sort of collaborate on what we could do to promote the other. So there's a bit of a middleman step there. We don't get to go directly to the movie people. We kind of go through our partner, WotC, and it's up to them to ensure that we kind of get access to the things that we want to. But we are very much anticipating trying to do some promotional tie-ins with the movie when it's slated to come out in Q1 of next year.
Yep. I mentioned this in the stream last week, but
all right,
working with anything involving a movie, it's very complicated because there's a lot of middle people. It's not just the people making the movie; it's the the license owner, the owner that owns the company that owns the license, and there's partners. There's a lot of different layers, and it's a long process. It's complicated. There's a lot of people involved, so it's not. I wish we could say yes, we're going to do this, but it's you got have to go through a lot of approvals. There were several questions from several people.
Yeah.
Talking about like the old feat trees.
They're about.
And how people would customize their tunes.
About Band of Air, about Strongholds.
Talk about if we
next
ever
week.
Go back to that system, what your thoughts, Brett, are on the how you set up the build for your character, and what thoughts we have in the future to give players maybe more options, or make them so it doesn't feel like it's cookie cutter. So,
and we're trying to always figure out ways. That's it's a broad question, but for example, looking at things like the class revamps, we're trying to make more viable options for ways to set up some of the characters. That's one of the ways in which we tackle specifically that. Go in, look at the class features, look at the feats, etc. Look at the encounter powers and everything that they've got, and try to add more viability to it. That being said, it takes a while to do that, to add those kinds of different setups. And looking at other systems like horizontal progression and vertical progressions, we take periodic shots at that, but as you have seen with things like the stat revamp, they're very challenging. We want to make sure that we get them right, and when we tackle them, it's important for us to ensure that they accomplish all that. So right now we have a couple of other things that we're working on that will be coming up for sort of our module here before the end of the year, but we have also some plans for the modules beyond that where we're looking at some more significant changes. But given we obviously had, like I said, a number of recent
Ruby, what's up, man?
To lay off that for a bit and then start going back to perhaps looking with ways to improve horizontal and vertical progression.
The question was kind of broad because there were several people bringing it up, and I kind of wanted to encapsulate all the different angles they were bringing up. So thank you.
Well, the VoS will be here. I missed first 5 minutes.
About the time that we put in the Band of Air changes I've talked about to its proc effects and things like that too, there will also be another set of changes going into Vault of Stars and Sharndar as well, related to drop rates of components and things like that as well. So if all goes according to plan, that should all roll out at
Navarro.
once. But that is slated
that will be good.
Sometime hopefully in the next month. We'll see.
Yeah, I heard you pulled out your design skills, Brett, for some stuff.
Luis Santiago. They're working on Band of Air NERF.
Of me making some changes.
Talk about some Stronghold stuff that's going to come next Thursday. There will be a blog about it.
Am Just Potato I wanted to address that they mentioned that they've seen the Wicked NPC and they were asking.
It's interesting. So
this is actually a conversation when we were when the group got together to discuss how we would do a tribute to Wicked. We did discuss whether we would have them in Protector's Enclave or in the Well of Dragons, and we were torn about that. It was a lot of discussion, and ultimately we decided for Well of Dragons just to because it felt more thematic. While it is not the central hub like Protector's Enclave, it did also feel more thematic for the character, for who Wicked was, and so he's there, and we will make sure that folks know that he is there. But yeah, we did discuss that. And
you did a good job on Wicked, definitely. So
let's see.
Kudos to that.
Galactic, finally, I'll give you another chance for a question because I want to know too. Have you considered not adding new gear as an incentive, but instead other things like shards of empowerment, ways to get dust rewards? So basically, Brett, have we thought about adding rewards that aren't just gear?
Yes, certainly. We've talked about a lot, everything from insignia powder to trade bar, etc. Trade store bars. But the reality is that we only have so much time to go through and kind of revise boards. You saw some of that actually happen with Dragon Slayer. Like we did revise a lot of the sort of non-gear rewards from chests out of dungeons, out of trials, out of master trials, etc. There's a substantial change to that.
B2 nothing yet.
Into the store, into those.
Nothing about the Demogorgon. Maybe they will answer. We'll see.
Everything else, like we're, for example, trying to add in things like insignia powder. If we do like a mount choice pack, ensuring that there's sort of an insignia powder or insignia option which you can convert into insignia powder, and a few other elements along that. So there's progression elements to that, but it just kind of depends on the area of the game. Like we've
don't know, nothing yet.
Hopefully stronger and healthier focus on sort of reward mechanisms here over the past several months. We're trying to improve the quality of rewards that we give. So if there are specific avenues, like okay, we definitely want to see more insignia powder. There's obviously a huge demand for that. We'll look at ways that we can give that out.
Gee, you think
battle passes or other things on the free track, but we'll come up with some ways to reward those.
A couple of questions. Mac and ketchup. So now I know how you like your mac and cheese. Talking about shards, when are we getting Reaper reward changes?
Reaper
it's
reward
on the
changes.
List, no target just yet. There's some additional things with Reaper shards we'd like to do. We generally actually really like the Reaper's challenge as a whole. I've done a good bit, and I find it to be a lot of fun. It's great to do some of the dungeons in a super challenging mode. But we're trying to see what we can add kind of to that store to help keep it live for people that if they've actually sort of bought in all the greater shards of empowerment that you need, which is a very, very small subset of people. We'll look and see what we can do out of adding more unique rewards.
That would be me.
Dr. Jack Runex was asking about they feel that especially now more than ever with Dragon Hunts, the armor doesn't really protect anybody but tanks. Other classes feel like they're basically getting cut through like paper. So is that intentional? Like, is armor supposed to help other classes that aren't tanks?
I mean, it depends on like a lot of when you say like armors, it's a very broad question. There are certain defensive stats that are found on equipment that, make you take less damage. Putting on a piece of armor by itself doesn't hugely increase sort of your defensive potential. If you're putting on any piece of equipment that has high plus defense, that's great for surviving dragon attacks. If you're putting on stuff that has, critical avoidance, same thing like that too, plus HP, also good. But if you're putting on gear that is just, all plus combat,
put a chance in right chest, right? That would be really cool, Kevin. Lox, what's up? Welcome to my stream, man.
With, companion powers. There's a lot of companion powers you can put on that increase your offensive powers, and there's some that you can slot for defenses. There's ones
they kind of answered that.
There's ones like the green slime,
but they're still tweaking it before the PC release next Thursday.
If you're having substantial trouble surviving various dragon hits, I would recommend considering
it is crap. The gear is crap.
Either offensive equipment or say offensive player bonuses, and trying at least one very potent defensive one, which will help you sort of buy some more leeway there. Yes, it will slightly reduce your overall offensive output, but probably not as much as it will increase your defensive capabilities by even putting in one or two really good slotted items to that. So there is a balance level. We've definitely had a case where DPS classes have slotted in a lot of cases nothing but offensive stats. But dragons definitely have a lot. Hang on, I'm lagging out again. Hopefully you can hear me. Dragons definitely have
B2, I don't know.
Sort of AoE attacks and area attacks.
I don't know.
And whatnot.
I'm still using the books.
Where legitimately the best solution might not just be to stack nothing but offensive stats. You may actually want to have a small portion dedicated towards some defensive stats.
And a couple of questions from
nothing like that.
You know,
they mentioned
what's
on a preview now.
So I appreciate you asking about them. Knowledge Hound's asking about adding new transmutes for bards, like drums or flutes to cast songs. So it's not just the lute. So can we give them more instruments, Brett?
It's a good request. We'll have to write that down. We definitely, we have a subset. There are certain sort of animation and other requirements. If you can kind of see that, unfortunately, like a lot of the equipment has to fit within certain restrictions, and so we'd have to look. The loot obviously has certain playback restrictions in terms of how it appears, how it looks, etc. And there's only so much time that we can dedicate per class. Like great weapons fighters generally have to use two-handed weapons, but we do have a subset of different two-handed weapons that they can use. Barbarians now.
Yeah.
Weapon fighter, barbarian. But other classes are in a similar boat too. Like we can get away with certain classes having access to, say, 100 swords, 100 axes, etc. But
yeah, good luck.
The variations we can have.
If you're enjoying, just keep on playing, man.
Can use that makes sense for.
If you get burned out or bored, just stop.
But other
Piccolo
fashion.
Bard.
Yep. Other fashion is Cinexo asks, is there a chance we can have better system of getting fashion items, like the seductive set, for example? Brett, can we please get more fashion, please?
We're trying, and we definitely, with each module, we try to add several new fashion items. We create new armor sets.
No, they're talking about fashion.
Exclusive transmute or fashion-only items.
Whatever.
But, the demand for, I think, more fashion items is always higher than what we can provide. A lot of our effort has to go into providing more functional gear and equipment, etc. So we try to always put some time out to add some unique new fashion stuff. But realistically, it's difficult for us to put a ton of time into, since a lot of players go exclusively for the stats. We try to put out as much new things as we can tolerate. And so there will be more coming up with the next module. And I know that some people have asked us in chat too. We are looking at trying to ensure that older fashion items, perhaps released early into Neverwinter's development, way back in, say, modules 1 through 6, that are either unobtainable or difficult to obtain, have avenues for being obtained again. We're looking at what we can do with promo packs.
Yeah, I agree.
Away as things as part of battle passes, whatever the case may be.
Indeed, that's the case.
A subset of older fashion items that are either very difficult to attain or unobtainable, and we're seeing what we can do to add those back in various ways for players to reobtain them.
Speaking of reobtaining or reworking, Slapman the Legend are asking about the music box. If we're planning on reworking it, like make a mythic version of the music box.
Specifically, you're talking about Arturia's music box, the artifact.
Yep.
Currently, there is no plan to rework specific older artifacts. Sometimes that does come up as a course of, hey, we're working on something. Oh, hey, these artifacts are thematically tied in, or they're part of that, and we will update
logs
them.
They need to do
to fit with
it's
the
very
rest
hard.
Of those updates. But we don't selectively just say, like, cool, let's take Arturia's music box, or let's go grab Staff of Flowers. And
how about you take Manticore Talon and stop exploiting
we'll new artifacts? And you've kind of seen that, for example, with Dragon
Everybody's
Blades,
doing it,
which
bugging the bosses.
Wyvern knives, and we wanted to make an updated version that the thought was either, do we revise Wyvern knives, or do we release a new similar artifact that has a similar power? And we decided to go with we'll release a new artifact, like in the form of Dragonbone Blades, etc. So there's a degree in which we still update some of the older artifacts, but there's also a degree to which, in a lot of cases, where we'd rather spend some of that time making newer artifacts where we can.
Bleep Bloop DC, first time chat. Hello. Asks, Lone Weave enchantment has no way to turn into an illusion. Do we have any plans for the future on that one?
I cannot comment. The thought is maybe we are looking, I know this came up as well as a side question, we are looking at more armor and weapon enchants, both from a functional standpoint and from a visual standpoint, but I cannot confirm or if Lone Weave is one of them. It may not be one of the ones that's on the list. It's not one that a lot of players have, so being blunt, it's low on the priority list as a result, but we'll see if we can do something special, because we know that was part of that pack. It was a unique thing that came with that pack.
They can do whatever they want, in all honesty.
Bringing up the promissory note and asking what we were going to do with it. And I don't know if maybe they missed the Knox box when we actually had a way to turn in promissory notes for Knox box. But there was also a question that was sent my way earlier, which was, do we plan on bringing the Knox boxes back again? Especially now that we have
but only for special occasions. We're kind of, it's not something, it's something that we've looked at. It might be something we do with a nice big promo, perhaps tied in sometime next year. But at the same time, it's not something that we are likely to bring back as a sort of routine thing. But it's something that we'll talk about, because we know that had a very positive reception.
Yeah, but they're
the Knox boxes. But at the same time, it's something that we're not committed to doing like constantly or on like a, every 3 months we're going to do an Ox box. But we are looking to see if there's something, because obviously it was proven to be very valuable. So
yeah, I agree. TL, there's so much this could be done.
Do it as a style event, like we'll do like Nox box week or something along those lines.
They're really rotting away. Yeah.
I think I missed some other questions.
I mean, the gear is shit.
One jumped at you. Let me know.
And it's simple as that.
Other stuff I highlighted, but of course.
Not to mention dragon mechanic is now different. So
I'll go ahead and tackle it. I know people were asking about some of the rewards being brought back, and like the astral lockbox, some of the older things that were some cases exclusives and whatnot. The approach that we've generally taken is that there isn't anything in Neverwinter that unless we made a specific promise that said we will never re-release this ever again. And according to the information, I've asked some of the people.
Make an enchant, so if you take
have anything that we've ever said like
cool, splitting
this
half,
will come
right?
out once and we will never release again.
So what crap are we getting for Shyster and Flywheel?
We have things that we put out that we want to ensure have
about nerfing the Band of Air.
Try not to rerun anything.
The Strongholds are not getting an update.
Of a specific promotion.
It's not. It's far away.
Those lines, that might have come out in the last year or a few
and
years.
We will have a new module
if we're bringing back an item that
at
was
the end of the year,
3 years ago or 4 years ago, and making it more widely available now. That will happen eventually. So
I will allow that.
Nothing that we're making will be exclusive forever unless we explicitly promise that. And if there's anything that we do wind up trampling on, the Neverwinter's got a very long history. We've done a lot of promotions. If we ever do run into something where it's like, cool, we said we would never reprint this and we're about to reprint it, let us know and we'll try to correct for it. But the reality is that we do plan on re-releasing a lot of things, including like I know Zerial's come up as one of the ones from the various milestone leaderboards in back in the
and it was fucking exclusive, and you put him in on VoS or lockbox.
See re-releases at some point, but again, it would be years away before we did it.
Cheers, bro.
Those lines.
Want to address a question, but it's also a theme. I'm seeing some folks talk about like, are you just going to keep bringing back older content you removed? But then you also get people saying, hey, can you bring back this older content you removed?
Small updates, yeah.
Just an interesting observation.
They need to, it's a cold fix, but the Band of Air is broken.
But Mira Blue asked,
so they're gonna fix it, quote unquote.
Skirmishes, or other inaccessible.
But it's gonna be a nerf.
So, Brett, have we talked about skirmishes?
To talk about like two of those areas. Number one is sort of reworking older things. We do have an occasional rework of older things, and that kind of comes up selectively. Again, it's usually tied to something thematically that we're working on or something gameplay-wise that we're really interested in updating. It just kind of fits naturally into that, and so we're going ahead and doing it. But we don't like just sort of like, we're taking a pause. For example, the Tyranny of Dragons campaign rework is something that we did alongside, we just done the Sharndar.
Fix Me's nerf, yeah.
We're likely taking a break from that, so don't expect to see another sort
Mark
of
Joe's
campaign
that's not going to happen
showing up in the next module.
They have quarterly
planning on doing, for example, Dread Ring
answer to
in the immediate or near future. If that happens,
that's the PR's way of saying it's too good, yeah.
Sort of near-term roadmap. It's even not on our midterm roadmap.
But it is broken.
As far as
especially
older
in some
ones, for
classes.
example, things that are currently not in operation, such as some of the older skirmishes. Again, we look at those, but we have to have kind of like a need for them. Like, we always have to gauge, should we be working on a new skirmish or a new adventure zone or a new dungeon or a new trial, or should we spend that time instead trying to do an update to one of the older ones?
They need to keep their nose out of the auction house, yeah.
I agree. Of a pullback like we have. I know this has come up. We've talked about Call to Arms.
More
There's a couple of the Call to Arms
priorities than that.
Not all of the Call to Arms maps that we actually like, and we would like to see perhaps brought back. Some of the Call to Arms maps would need a lot more work, and so we're unlikely to bring those back. Tales of Old kind of falls into the category where a couple of Tales of Old we like, and a couple of them are kind of convoluted and have some problems, especially when it kind of relates to balance. And that's why we haven't brought in Tales of Old back. There's also sort of the mechanics.
You should have.
You play more Tales of Old, you get more stuff, but then the balance was a bit off where the first several ones were very easy and you basically had to replay the dungeon really quickly. And then the last one was exceptionally hard going into hardcore and suddenly having everything do substantial more damage. We like our events to generally not take an hour plus commitment to do, so that
Asfrida, you're right.
Multiple.
Yeah, it ain't happening, man. It's just ain't happening.
Like, hey, the events are cool, but we want you to still be able to do other things with Neverwinter. We don't want your entire session to be nothing but running Tales of Old once and then failing because somebody disconnected during a boss fight and died through no fault of your own. So that's some of the problems that we're trying to avoid with some of the things. Like, hardcore content's fun, but if it takes
AJ, what's up, man?
Hardcore, then there's
Cheers,
a lot of chances for something going off. And we know that, for example, the Twisted Denizens with Vault of Stars can have the same the hardcore Vault of Stars.
Mark Jones, they are understaffed to even for this,
which is why we try to avoid the whole like
that's my answer
that make you spend an hour to get the most value out of it. We're trying to get it so that events can be
Gearbox give them more resources, maybe. Yeah.
Try to see if we can do something for Call to Arms and some of the maps that were really cool within that one, because there's even a few exclusive items, for example, in Call to Arms at Fashions and other things that we're looking at ways to bring back too, since we know players want access to them.
No, nothing special, AJ. It's almost done. I thought it's going to be longer, but
and one of our viewers has been Strife, I think John Strife has been asking about this. You mentioned the horizontal vertical progression.
Yeah, you mentioned Josh Strife ruined you.
What the difference is. So if you want to just give a super quick snippet of what that means,
and
what our focus is on for Neverwinter, horizontal versus vertical progression.
Yeah.
So vertical progression, it kind of means that you're basically becoming more powerful. It's like, cool, I'm getting things with higher item level or things with higher stats or better powers, or I'm upgrading my insignias from, epic to legendary. Whereas that's sort of like the vertical one. Like your item level goes up, your general power goes up, you deal more damage, you have more health and durability. Horizontal progression is kind of when you go wide, where you don't necessarily get more powerful, but you get more choices, you get more tactical options.
The usual rebranding and re-releasing old content. Yeah.
Necessarily do. Or you might get more choices of encounter patterns or more choices for at-wills, or for example, something that adds more flexibility to your character but doesn't straight up increase their damage in terms of like, more utility things, those sorts of elements. So insignia bonuses in some cases can kind of be seen that, although there are a few insignia bonuses, for example, that do give you raw stats. Some of them just kind of give you more support functions. So those are some of the horizontal expansions that we talk about, new ways of doing things, new avenues. And once you add like a new horizontal expansion, then you can sometimes add more vertical to that. You kind of look at like companions as a horizontal thing that you have like player slot power bonuses. Those can also progress individually. So you kind of widen the funnel a bit as opposed to just making the existing funnel.
All right, it makes sense, but
there are a couple other questions that have come up that we've.
Thank you guys for coming to the stream. I slept in. I'm really tired.
The Black Dragons. So I recommend.
So we missed the first 7 minutes.
You can watch the VOD of the stream. Just because I don't want to.
Yeah, AJ, that's a really good idea. But I don't think it will happen.
Your topic earlier.
I don't think it will happen. They talked about insignia powder.
Savage Anti-Hero. Are there going to be any other journal book sets added to the game? I'm guessing they're talking about expanding from the.
Dennis, yeah, correct. That is
the journals. No current plans.
Let's see.
And I would say probably unlikely. The interactions there were complicated, and we definitely want to add cool new artifacts, but specifically
they have a lot to do on Strida, but they're not. Don't have
challenging to update and keep in context.
Yes, Gallo, horizontal progression does not make much as money as vertical progression. Of course, that's why he just PR'd the shit out of it,
Specifically, some of the older armors, we'll see what we can do. We're trying to ensure that there are ways to access old transmutes. So if you're running into problems finding specific transmutes or older armor appearances, let us know, and we'll try to figure out what we can do to package those up and make them easier to get.
All right. So Lunar Wolf, Julia, will you raise the drop rates of the Diamond Shard companion equipment? Well, I won't. I'm sorry, because I don't have the knowledge, the ability to do that. But Brett, are there thoughts about raising the drop rate for the Diamond Shards?
So related to that list of changes that I had talked about with like various Sharndar of all the stars.
No. Bionic, there's no insignia rework.
Revision to
that
a
I've
number
heard.
of
No.
certain items
Just
found
for
throughout
the
Sharndar
powder.
stars relating to where these items drop from. Some of them drop from bosses, some of them drop from various quests, some of them drop from Shattered Diamonds, etc. There'll be substantial overhauls to that when that change goes live. So expect accessibility to that. And I'll point out, for example, right now, there's been a long-standing bug with the Sharndar collections where they showed a +5 version of several shirts and pants. Those shirts and pants are not in the game, and they never were. And that bug will be resolved. Those things will be disappearing.
Yo, Brett Boy, what's up, my man?
With the upcoming patch 2. Apologies. Those were test items.
Yeah, I'm doing better, actually.
Added to the
I'm
game,
doing better.
and have never been available. So if you've been wondering where to get those +5 versions from, they were not available. So that has been corrected. And additionally, some of the much more very difficult to acquire items from, again, Shattered Diamond Shards and a few other places throughout Sharndar will become substantially easier to acquire.
Huston.
It's not no problem. I did slept in first 7 minutes, so I apologize for that.
So they have a barbarian with cleric. They have barbarian armor in their cleric inventory, and I just wanted to address that is something that has been brought up before. I have mentioned it, and I do reminders every now and then to the team as to, as to like, hey, these
Or a lot of stuff was said, but
so it's on our radar, and I keep reminding them.
They didn't answer the question
really
about adding the like paid exclusive pets, companions into the game.
find things that are
Spartan was asking that, they just shrug it off.
Challenging to use.
They didn't
answer.
answer.
Revise that. See what we can do.
And I think the last one, because we are at 301, was Amos was asking about potential packs in the future with, other characters like anti-heroes that is not confirmed. I want to say my response to that last week was no comment. So I'm going to stick to no comment unless Brett wants to add a comment about.
We're looking at new packs. We've run things like the Companions of the Hall pack, which had Drizzt and Wolfgar and such in it. And we are looking at other packs in the future. I can't offer any spoilers because that would take away other people's thunder. But yes, there will be some cool, very character-specific things coming up over the next 6 months that will hopefully be interesting to all the players.
And we are at time. So, Brett, was there any last thoughts you wanted to add? We got a lot of questions, and I know we didn't address them all.
Yeah, well, you kind of dodged some of them.
Now for the next quarterly Q&A,
but okay.
Because
never answered to Spartan, never answered to anybody.
Final thoughts on your end?
No, hopefully everyone's had fun with Dragon Slayer. Throwing out there, we know that black dragons are very challenging, and we're kind of looking at that. They're definitely the best killers. We have data showing that they are some of the stronger killers. We're working on Tiamat Q. We put in some more changes. We saw a substantial increase in success rates, but
because you nerfed the shit out of it.
Wanted them to, so we took it back out.
Yeah, bro, boy.
Back closer in line with, say, like Crown of Calgadon normal, which is doing relatively quite well now. But hopefully we'll have some quick updates into Tiamat, and that will be coming out. No promises, but hopefully not. Sometime here in the next month or so, we'll be able to get something back out for Tiamat.
All right.
But it's still available in private queues, but it went up substantially in random trial queues, but did not.
Yeah, Mark Jones. Bottom line.
Also being
Demogorgon.
Hopefully we'll be back in queues here relatively shortly as well too.
Yeah.
All right.
In terms of streams, with Rothe Valley coming out next week, both the Battle Pass and the Epic Adventure, I will be playing that as another stream. Maybe have a guest to chat with. So stay tuned for details on that. And then just other fun streams.
She picks what can be answered easily. Yeah.
I've seen some of my unboxing videos that WizKids that part of.
That was I mean, that's all. So it was always like that.
Blast. But yeah, stay tuned, and thank you for everyone who showed up. Apologies if I didn't get to your question.
Not a lot of viewership. I mean, it's Brett Northon, though.
Thank you.
It's not that late in Europe.
Stay safe.
And I know it's.
Take care of each other. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. So let's summarize this. This is what they did. Basically, they are in the works for the actual.
It means that people can maybe hear us. So.
All right, so we can watch the first 7 minutes we missed.
Secret talk. And can mention normal secret talk.
Yes, normal secret talk.
I
see Aran. Ooh,
what was said about insignias?
That brings back memories. Hi, Galactic.
They're going to try to get more sources for powder.
If you can't.
Hearing them though.
Nothing on a guild book. East Coast, yes.
I think Galactic is on the other side of the Atlantic, so he might have to yell.
Dragon Hunt bonus weekly to allow easier teams up. Yeah.
First of all,
I agree.
Promissory Note is so last year, and you're not eligible for any giveaways.
Well, Galactic got burned.
So wait, Yamayan says they can hear you, and Galactic says we don't. Galactic, are you trolling? It is too early or late in the day for trolling.
It's never too early for trolling. Never, ever, ever.
All right, I am now officially going to ignore you, Galactic. You have used up your troll quota for today. All right, folks. Hello, welcome to a community Q&A stream with executive producer Brett Northon, which I guess I just stole his thunder is who he is.
Hey!
And I am community manager Nitocris or Julia. And we're trying to do Q&As quarterly, give wiggle room for that. So we're doing one now and hopefully doing another one in November. Trying to hit that sweet spot in November where
that's right, Kyan. No.
Has happened, but other holidays haven't started yet. So we'll see how that works out.
It's been a bit since we had a last QA with me. Although I did jump on.
We didn't miss any
I believe it was
so much in the beginning. As I was afraid.
So, we're we're still within the margin of error. But yeah, we wanted to touch base. This time there was no specific theme to the stream. Like we didn't say it's going to be about this topic. Just because
yes, TL, that's correct.
Brett, we can just throw anything at him, and if I see the panic in his eyes, I know to move away. If he starts talking very confidently, then we're good. I have not yet seen panic in his eyes, so that's
not like panicking yet.
Yeah, but we do have some topics that we thought would likely come up, but we are going to be taking as many live questions as possible. But I'm going to let Brett just start by if there's anything on his mind that he really wants to just talk about right off the bat before we start taking questions. So, Brett, I'm turning it over to you. What do you want to talk about? I'll just say
hello. For those of you who haven't seen me in either the previous streams, I'm Brett Northon. I'm the executive producer on Neverwinter, which kind of means like I run the project, although there's a lot of very talented people and leads, especially that oversee many of the various areas of Neverwinter. But I help oversee the general development of the game, so I can pretty much answer most questions. Very, very specific technical ones, perhaps not. But if you have questions about the direction about what Neverwinter is doing and where it's going, feel free to shoot out in chat, and we'll try to respond. We've also gathered a few questions from the community prior to this, and we'll respond to some of those. And I'll generally try to give some hints and information as to where we're at with Neverwinter, what's upcoming.
It was bound, but it's okay. Yeah, Brett boy.
That's cool. What's coming in the distant future, but I'm not going to spoil anything. So if you ask me what the theme, what's going to happen for the next module, I can't tell you just yet because that gets reserved for a nice marketing release first. But
he will.
Start to see some
I think he will. Galactic. He probably will.
And things that have shown up on preview and whatnot.
All things
considered.
Talk a
little bit about the release that we're going to have actually next week too, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. We already do have one question. So we probably will hop around topics because I don't want to miss chat questions either. But Yama
yep.
says, why did the Tomb of the Mad Mage get buffed? It was already hard to get the Master of Undermountain achievement. It's a no-death run, for those who don't know. And now it's almost impossible. Shouldn't old content be easier to do as time passes? And wasn't it supposed to be added to the public trial queue?
So first off, Trial of the Mad Mage got harder alongside a number of other changes to our master trials. Several of them were buff, Zerial as well, and that came along as part of the Dragon Slayer rollout. We increased the rewards substantially from all the master trials, so it does have an adverse effect on making some of the older achievements harder to get, yes, but at the same time,
Joe Perk, what's up, man?
Reoccurring How you doing, rewards for master trials were increased, and we wanted to ensure that the relative challenge. Hang on, I'm lagging out here.
Yes, Brett let me know that he was having some connection problems. So
sorry.
There's always something.
We can hear you, but I'm guessing you're the one who's experiencing lag on your end.
All right. So yeah, hopefully it's coming back. But in any case, the rewards were increased, and so since the repeatable rewards were made more valuable, we wanted to ensure that the difficulty was somewhat in line with the value.
Very nice.
And was
that's what I want to hear, man.
With Zerial Master, Crown of Kelgadon Master,
Tiamat
Master, etc. If we feel that any of those are particularly out of whack, and from the data we haven't seen anything where it showcases rampant disparities between the master trials. Now we can solve that, but at the same time the master trials were intended to be sort of in that same ballpark. Now as far as an RTQ, it would be great if we could get a random trial queue version of Trial of the Mad Mage out, but it's not likely to happen anytime in the immediate future because we're focusing on some other areas of the game first. So no, Trial of the Mad Mage was not explicitly expected to be added to the random trial queue. That's more of a wish list thing right now. It's a much more complex and challenging trial to bring.
Neverwinter happy hour, yeah.
It would be difficult for us to do that, say, compared to some of the other trials that we've recently
I know.
done. So it is on our wish list, but it is not on our short or near-term list to get done.
So there's actually a Hard Rock L1L asked about the Battle Pass coming, and they're asking, a couple of people were asking for Battle Pass details. The blog for the Battle Pass is coming out on Friday, which will include
conspiracy.
All the different phases. It no longer
you quit
the first
and just uninstall, man, and forget about it.
But it is 3 phases each month, and
Tom is not impossible. It's just people don't know to organize. Yeah, Tom is totally
more info on that.
Impossible.
Check it out. Yeah. We'll have the information up Friday, so get a chance to review before it comes out and see how much. But hopefully they'll be interesting enough that people want to jump in on it.
So folks are asking, since we were talking about trials, folks are asking about the Demogorgon trial. Any updates on that? When is it going to be the rework?
Here is the Demogorgon.
The Demogorgon trial is in work. actively. There have been some play tests on it to try to gauge, has it hit the appropriate target difficulties? Obviously, we want the master version still to be fairly challenging, but we want in particular, the random trial queue version to be something that is approachable by a random group that has a reasonably high success rate and hits the
Yeah, everybody likes a
for
good battle
So,
pass.
it is basically in work now. We don't have an ETA for it due to timing.
Elegant, no, they cannot.
Back in random
it's
trial queue
character bound
early
and
November,
it's not happening.
On when we can get those changes. There's a chance we'll get them out in a sort of interstitial patch before our next big patch in November, but I'm not going to make any promises to it just yet. I'd love to see it come out here in the next couple of weeks. It's close, but we do have some build timing issues that we have to work around.
Yep. For those who caught the stream last week, I mentioned early access, people who'd signed up to volunteer for early access, and finding
something about early access.
The casual RTQ more style was very challenging, just because if you are already offering to participate in an early access, it tends to show a higher investment, higher knowledge kind of thing. So it's been delicate, but we have found some great folks. We've done a couple standard demo runs. I've got a master, another master group already also kind of prepping up for that. So we're definitely getting some great input, some great feedback.
Yeah, I know. Everyone loves dropping cash into a game.
But yeah,
Demo NERF going, what the fuck, man? Come on.
Participate in the early access section of it.
All right.
And we have so far we've had 2 topics that were on my list come up. One of them
Gotta grind that favor.
Crossplay. Any plans for crossplay?
Here is the crossplay. Here's the crossplay.
Asks Chesick.
There's currently no cross-platform plans. It's something that we've talked about, but it's a very complicated technical request to get
no
done.
crossplay, and they said that already.
We do have sort of the account structure we would need, but for example, the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC are basically run on completely separate shards and have completely separate economies. And so there's a lot both on the technical end of ensuring that we could get all the players playing on a single shard and working consistently, but separately too, we'd have to resolve the issue of
nerf all the dragons.
For example, auction houses.
Come on, Kevin.
Then exchanges are per platform. There's a lot that happens per platform, and smooshing those all together would change that into a single economy. And so there's some things that we would have to do there that we'd have to work out. Fundamentally, Cryptic's MMOs weren't set up to be cross-platform from the get-go, and that's
Dennis, I agree. It's just people don't know how to do it.
It's much better when you can do that from the get-go.
Tank busters, the everything.
So it is not currently on our list. It's something that we would like to look at just because it makes it easier to find players, etc. But it's something that is a very non-trivial amount of technical work.
I do want to say thanks to both Terramac and Midnight Light for kind of handling some moderation, and also Midnight for addressing some stuff.
All right.
Soup Heals You was asking about accessibility and color blindness, and I know that's a topic that has come up internally. Several of us, we discuss it as to how we can improve that. So
Microsoft is a problem,
but we do discuss it, and it's something we do take into consideration. So
I wish they would let us unbind companion gear. That would be good. Other than that, it's account wide. So
was roadmap. People asking about roadmap. Your favorite topic, Brett. So where are we with this roadmap?
We're actively working on it. We've literally been having a lot of discussions.
So it's about the roadmap.
We wrap up module 23, which was Dragon Slayer, and we had to get module 24 kicked off and in the throes, and that has been well underway now. And as we work on our next module, we have been working on our longer-term roadmap. I don't have it ready to present yet, but I have a version of it for internal display.
Oh yeah, Sony is the problem, not Microsoft. She's right. Anna is right.
Before I can display anything externally.
Sony is the problem.
A solid internal approval.
There will be never
I wish I could have gotten the version out sooner.
Never.
But, following both Dragon Slayer and then getting module 24.
Secret bosses, future dungeons, unique drops.
Just getting those things out.
Yes,
those
I agree.
Obviously, as being the most immediate needs for Neverwinter.
I do agree.
Another topic is the legacy character. I believe it was Galactic who brought them up.
There's Galactic's question.
How we'll address it, and he also acknowledged that it is a sensitive topic.
Yes.
But yes, I think Brett and I were actually just talking about this. So
Mod 24 at the end of the year.
And the fix
no info on Mod 24
and whatnot that are found. The legacy characters, basically older boons and whatnot being found on characters. These are things that are no longer obtainable. Certain characters
until
that,
later
are from like 5 or 6 years ago. Never have access to boons that are.
Mimic doesn't drop anything unique, but it's secret, sort of. Yeah, well, it does drop sometimes.
Small release that we're doing,
but it's
here next
underwhelming.
Week, either with that immediate release, I had to double check on the specific ones, or shortly afterwards, all of those old boons will be disabled. Those characters will have all of that old data cleared off, and those will no longer be accessible. They will receive a message sort of indicating as such, but we're effectively putting in a technical fix that will go, live here. I'm hoping it comes out with the update for next Tuesday. It might take a week or two.
Sony is really difficult, man.
That fix will come out,
I agree.
and it will wipe all that off of the older characters. We're hoping that it hits everyone, but we're, at least with some of the test containers and characters we've had, it has proven successful there. So we're hoping that we get a pretty good hit here within August. So.
Let's see, a couple other questions. Questions or comments. Killer Croc 1014, a bit of a random question, but any chance there will ever be an abyssal chicken mount? Maybe if you could combine all the abyssal chicken pets.
It's a good idea. We'll look into that one. Abyssal
chicken
it's a replay. Sounds like a lot of fun. So
I still want them to be able to combine all the vanity pets together. And maybe the more vanity pets put together, the bigger your.
Then you can have the vanity pet, then you can have the companion, and you can have the mount. You can go all abyssal chicken.
Yeah. Let's see, there's another question. Let's see, I missed a tank one. Yes. CPT.
No, Mod 24 is coming.
Scroll bug, so tanks can use a scroll of life if they died while.
Okay, we heard all this, so I'm just gonna stop it now. Straight up. So bottom line is, the nerf of Band of Air is in internal testing, so it means it's not that far away. They said it's gonna be like. They actually said it's going to be still kind of top, but not too over the board for the other rings that are kind of best in slot in the game. There will be no cross-platform whatsoever, ever, never. I mean, that's obvious by now. PS4 ROT release date should be PC is next Thursday, and he didn't mention PlayStation 4 or Xbox. Bob, what's up, man? You're welcome. Okay, so we heard a lot of stuff, a lot of answered questions. However, the main question that didn't get answered is Spartan actually asked a couple of times. Why are they putting exclusive items in the astral lockbox, which I showed you on my video? Zariel, the this and that, the cunning mimic. That was like $150 worth of, you charge the Zen and you get that specific mount, right? So that's TLDR. Regarding he was talking also about no, I am live, but the stream is offline. The stream was over like I don't know, 15 minutes ago. So yeah, Brad Boy, probably in August. They're going to delete legacy characters to force a respec. They're gonna, they are literally stripping off and removing the boons or whatnot from the legacy Toons. So there was a lot of hassle about it, and whatnot. So yeah. They are going to do it, They're going to nerf the Band of Air. They also talked about some kind of about call to arms changes, but it was kind of vague a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about all this? All right. Well, it was a cute little stream with some kind of worthy information, nothing mind-blowing. And I apologize. I slept in because it's really hot here, and I'm playing Destiny 2 and it's got 2 updates, and we'll get another one with a new raid in 3 more weeks. Well, Neverwinter still on Mod 23. Yeah. Destiny is Destiny, Yeah, they said they were going to change the call to arms in 2019 roadmap, and what year? It's 2022. So it's been 3 years they're trying to revamp or bring back call to arms to be actually worth, they're doing it. So I don't know why they didn't do it yet. It's really they have a schedule. Yeah, I agree. They did an okay job for telling us they have a schedule, but they seem to be out of touch with some player concerns about increased quality to compete. Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, they're just gonna rework everything. I mean, obviously. Shekelmeister, I thought they were going to speed up releasing content. However, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, you were in the top 100 when you got the Zariel. Now, yeah, you bind it, and you were thinking like this is something unique. It's not. I showed it on my logbox opening. They are updating the logboxes. I opened 1,000. It's in my videos. You can see I got a lot of I didn't get the Zariel per se, but I did got quite a lot companions that were exclusive color, like Cunning Mimic. I think it was $150 to charge the Zen, and then you get the Cunning Mimic. Not the Cunning Mimic, but the actual mount that holds you. I don't know, the Giantess, Frost Giantess. I just can't stand it. Okay, and putting exclusive items in an astral lockbox is a boot in the balls of the people to pay money. I've never paid them money, so it doesn't affect me. Me neither. But it's really not fair, in my opinion. Do you think Gearbox is going? Bob, do you think Gearbox is going to be more player-driven going forward? I don't see enough change that I was hoping for. Well, it is how it is. They got few percentages up, but the dragons, doing dragons are kind of toning down. I don't run them anymore. I got all the gear, but still, they are now implemented a Dragonflight gear that is also subpar to Mythic gear and subpar to Vault of Stars gear. Henceforth, I don't. Then we will have people again. Hey, I'm 65,000 item level. Take me to the Dragonflight or Dragonfight, and then he ends up dead. You know, can't handle the modifiers only because he has his item level jacked up from the actual previous module, that orange gear, if you remember. So that's pretty much it. They upped the chance to drop from new astral box. Well, in my case, thank you for the sub. In my case, actually, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It's just it's weird. Let me see. I'm gonna catch up with the chat. I think they'll get a lack of trust from community and exclusive thing. Absolutely, Brave Boy. I mean, that was a really exclusive item for top 100 players. They put a lot of effort in it, and that's really controversial. It's really I don't fucking like it. It doesn't concern me, but the vast majority of community does. But that's just my personal opinion. I enjoy Neverwinter because of the long-term friends in my alliance. Revamp the Guildhall Dragonflight is a good start. Yeah, man. I mean, if you don't enjoy the game, don't play it. You know, I do it for the videos and to hang out with some friends, and that's all there is to it. You know. Yeah. 63 people here, smash the like button and support Northside. No one else give it you straight like he does. I know, I see what you mean. Acknowledge it with the dick. Click, please. Okay. Yeah, smash the like button, guys. Okay, so... for fuck's sake. There we go. Sorry about the spam. I gotta address this 3-month seasonal recycling content. Eric, thanks for the $5, man. Much appreciated. Okay, so let me just answer this question really quick because it's really interesting. So about Bungie and Destiny 2, of course. And thank you for the sub. Or what, I don't see it on my screen, so my other monitor. So we have Bungie likes recycling content too, but at least they keep up with the 3-month seasonal updates. Exactly. That's exactly my point. And that you know, there's always reason to log in. On the other hand, I have no reason to log in unless to pick up my keys and see what I sold. I have all the mythic gear. I don't want to run Tiamat trial because I just don't want to do it. I have no interest in that, if you know what I mean. So Shekemeister, you're welcome, Rick. You're welcome. I always cover their streams and whatnot, so it is how it is, you know. And yeah. All right, it's just a business idea. Why would anyone ever trust them after this? I don't trust them even without this. You know, that's my thing. But it's a good AD sync with the astral updates, and people are complaining about the backlog. Maybe this could also be players' fault, dare I say. Yeah, it could be, you know. I mean, if you look at the Zax, that is 60 million or whatnot, you wait for a year to get your Zen. It's also players' fault, and I'm part of the problem too, because I am just flipping Zen and it's selling and then reflipping it. It's how it works, you know. And the other thing, about this is, well, how can I say this? It is an AD sync, and they put them in the astral boxes, and I was pretty lucky in my 1,000 boxes. Some other YouTuber opened 1,000. He didn't get so much companions that I got, especially cunning mimics, etc. So that's my 2 cents on all of this. Yeah. I don't think anybody's gonna trust them, regardless. You know. So also we also have that the Tales of Old are not coming back because they have some technical issues and difficulty for several dungeons. So that's what being said, and that's quite important also to say. I think we covered everything now. I think you either play the Zen game or be forced into spending two plus hours every day farming just to afford the cold wards. Yeah, that kind of sums it up. Wouldn't it be cool if they just cleared the backlog of Zen by approving all requests? That wouldn't really help because there are billions and trillions of AD circulating, and you know, I don't think that would fix it. Okay, Ansfrida, I got two lots of 5,000 Zen in June after 346 days. That's almost a year of waiting. Then I just got another 5,000 after 335 days. I might get more in September and in December. Then I'll be waiting for more than a year. Yes, you will. Like I do on a lot of you know, characters. Rick, that would be bad for business. Of course, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, that's just bad business. Having a Zax backlog goes into their favor. You want VIP? Wait for a year. Fuck you. If you want it, you gotta buy the Zen. $10 month. Okay. Okay, supporting the game for $10 is fine, but selling, and especially cutting mimic and getting, which was for the money. And I think there was another companion for $100, and now putting it in an astral lockbox is like really controversial. That's my opinion. So yeah. Yeah, brother boy, for sure, man. I hear Northside enjoyed the game, but it's frustrating when they ignore problems. Well, I think I think this is the best they can do at this point. That's my opinion. I think this is the best they can actually do at the time. Hey, CEO, what's up? I really love the potential of Neverwinter is just getting there. Yeah, potential was always there. This could have been the biggest MMO Dungeons and Dragons game ever. However, it is not. Sadly, it is not. And in the old days, it was crowded, populated, no backlog, or you gotta wait for like half an hour or an hour, maybe top 2 hours to get your Zen, and then open the log boxes. AC or Shot, what's up, my man? I think VIP is one of the few very things for the Zen. Almost worth paying cash for if you're into the game big time. Yeah, it's free, but just don't forget, if you want all the perks, you gotta have level 12 VIP. So either you buy for $120 worth of Zen, and then buy 12 rank VIP 12, and or pay monthly $10 for 12 months to get to that rank 12 VIP. Then you're done. Then you just need to maintain the VIP, etc. Tutor and Cunning Mimic in the comp pack. How many bought loads of those packs? Then 4 weeks later, released in the Astral Logbox update. Yeah, you bought 1 pack. Yeah, well, I opened the 1,000, and the drop rate, it's not that good. I just got lucky. Somebody else was actually opening them, and it was quite underwhelming in terms of his drops, and you know, that's about it. So yeah, I don't know, the Tutor is coming back. We got Tutor, Cunning Mimic, and Zariel. I think it's Zariel. That was exclusive to top 100 players for Redeem Citadel, and they worked their ass off to be in that top 100. And now it's just shrug off the shoulders and just fuck it. We're gonna do it and put it in an Astral Logbox, like I showed you in the video. Well, the new Logbox, in my opinion, success, and I'm just waiting for the new version of the Logbox. And also, they were talking about if we are getting Nox boxes back, they said that they are working on it, and various other stuff. You can rewatch the VOD, and that's it. I mean, I don't know what to say. But yeah, it is quite underwhelming, you know. Quite underwhelming, I have to say. Alright, what's this? Oh, never mind. Just checking how long I'm streaming. Waiting for the next upgrade after Mythic, maybe level Insignias. Our next, probably, I would say Insignias or something like that. I really think, brother, that they should actually make it where once in a while you get a random astral box from a dungeon. I guess that could be a, you know, nice addition, but you have to understand that astral boxes have a very low chance to drop you what you want. Very, very low. You gotta be really lucky, and you have to buy a lot of boxes. Of course, it's RNG, so you can buy 10 boxes and get what you want, and you can buy 1,000 boxes and not get what you want. So it is just pure AD sync, and it's astral boxes are only worth for upgrade tokens, companion upgrade tokens or mount, and for thermal bars. That's all there is to it. That's just my 2 cents. All right, let me catch up with the chat really quick. Trying to show logbox odds are bad, and you suddenly hit an amazing luck streak. They had to show because of the European law. Gearbox is in Europe, and they basically, the boxes are gambling, and they have laws now against that, and they're implementing that on whatever game has loot boxes, log boxes, etc. So yeah. Pardon me. Alright, I quit when they reworked enchants. I had all my stuff on legendary rank and some mounts mythic on each character at that point, by the way. Yeah, and a lot of people didn't like it, you know. We just got used to it, I guess. I got a 50th year anniversary mount out of a Nox box, gold lime apparatus of Qualish. Yeah. Oh, you equipped it. Well, you have a rare mount, you know. Doesn't matter. You can't sell it, but still, you got 2 warnings or 1 warning that you're gonna bind it to yourself. Or maybe there isn't a warning. I'm not really sure anymore. I'm really not sure anymore. Definitely. All right, so that's about it, I think. How long am I streaming? All right. All right. Yeah, you could have sold that one for a lot of money, actually. I'm not gonna lie. For a lot of money. Remember the time when account-wide companion mount auto-equipped? Yeah, I remember. How can I forget? How can I forget? I made a video. Yeah, it's probably at that, like, between, I wouldn't say 40 million, between 10 and 20 million, probably. Yeah, Rick. I mean, I know you're joking, but if it's something so rare, it's gonna jack up the price. Just look at the Paranoid Delusion. I am actually surprised they didn't put Paranoid Delusion in the Astral Logbox. I assure you they will put Paranoid Delusion in the next Astral Logbox update. So that's just my humble opinion. So yeah, I do remember Srida. Of course I do. I mean, yeah, definitely, yeah. So summaries, so no updates to the Stronghold. Mod 24 to the end of the year. Next week we get new adventure for the PC. I don't know about PlayStation. Band of Air is gonna get a nerf much earlier than we thought, apparently. But it will still remain like a best in slot ring. So that's just a TLDR, and that's about it. Remember when you could expect mounts and they showed the stats? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember everything, man. Okay, guys, that's it for this stream. Sorry for I just dozed off, and that was it. Yeah, you gotta go into your where the insignias are, but you will only see, you have to unequip it, etc. I remember when we don't even have account-wide mount and companion available, but kind of glad they went this route. Thanks, Xiong. This makes boosting your alt faster, so some positive there. Okay, all right. I agree with that. Yo, X6 Scaler, what's up? What's good, man? All right, Kevin, I will see you. I wish I would tell which mount provided the mount power. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna call it off for now. I'm not gonna do a shorter stream. I think somebody else will. So for night is well, good night. I kind of smash the like button, please, everybody who's watching, and have a nice week. I will see you with a new video. I don't upload so frequently, but I will nevertheless, especially on Thursday, probably. Next Thursday is well, what day is today? Wednesday. So tomorrow that we will have maybe a patch, but maybe not. I highly doubt it. So next Thursday is 11th. Then we will be, then that's the time we will be getting the new actual adventure zone, and I think maybe even the battle pass. You know, for me the game is dead after the last reworking. I'm a healer cleric, and now my char is not playable any longer. LOL. Yeah, I know. Thanks for coming. Thank you all for coming to the stream, and later chat. Stay safe. Much love. And Northside is out.